questions 21 through 25 on the 2016 Grade 8 AMC 8. A box contains 3 red chips, 2 green chips. Chips are drawn randomly one at a time without replacement until all 3 of the reds are drawn or until both green chips are drawn. What is the probability that the 3 reds are drawn? So we have 3 red chips and we've got 2 green. So they've got some rules here that they want either all 3 or both of the green drawn, and we have to figure out the probability. So what are scenarios that would meet that? All 3, of course, that obviously meets the scenario criteria, but you can squeeze in a green in there too, something like that. Either the green is first, or the green is second, or the green is third, like that. This would work. And interestingly, any other scenario does not work. For example, if I had the green as my 4th, well, this doesn't work because as soon as I get 3 reds, that's it. The game is over. You see what I mean? And similarly, like let's say I try to do 2 greens and 3 reds. So if say red, red, green, red, green, red. Well, I think I've overcounted, but this scenario, interestingly, is working. But if I did green, green like that, that doesn't work because as soon as I get 2 green, the game is over. I wouldn't be able to get that last red. So with that said, these are the only 3. So we have to figure out the probability of each of these, and then at the end, we'll just add them up to get the full probability. Okay, probability of 3 greens. The first one, I have a 3 out of 5 chance of getting a green. The second one is already gone. So now I have a 2 out of 4 chance of getting a red. I think that's what I should be saying. 2 out of 4 chance. And then now this red, these 2 are gone, so I've got a 1 out of 3 chance of getting that final red. So this is my probability, and that's going to be 1 over 10. Okay, so now we got to figure out these guys here. The green, I've got a 2 out of 5 chance of getting a green. Okay, and then once that's gone, the red, it would be a 3 out of 4 chance of getting a red. And so a green's gone, a red's gone. Now to get another red, 2 out of 3. And then finally, I had 1 green and 2 red. So now there's a 1 out of 2 chance of getting a red from what is remaining. So this looks like, again, 1 out of 10. And in a very similar way, you can figure out that this is 1 over 10 and this is 1 over 10. So now you add them up and you get 4 over 10. That's the answer. But in lowest terms, of course, it would be 2 out of 5. So number 21, the answer is B. Rectangle DEFA below is a 3x4 rectangle with DC equal to CB equal to BA equals 1. The area of the bat wings, the shaded area, is. All right, so we got to figure out how to do this. A few ways, but I'm just going to draw a line right down the middle like that. And I'm going to label this guy X, that distance from here to here. And then the distance from here to the bottom, I will label 4 minus X. So my area of the shaded region would be the total area, which would be 4 times 3, total area of that entire rectangle, minus this triangle, and those are identical. So it would be minus 2 times 1/2 base times height. The base is 1 and the height is 4. And then I have to subtract this guy. So that's going to be 1/2 base, which is 1 times height, which is X, and then subtract finally this guy, which would be 1/2 base, which is 3 times the height, which is 4 minus X. Okay, so this gives me 12 minus 4 minus X over 2. Let's see here. Minus 6 plus 3 over 2, X. So this simplifies to just 2 plus X. All right, great, but I still have x. I need a number because the answer choices are not in terms of x. So how do I get the value of x? Well, this is where you use similar triangles. So this triangle is similar to this triangle, right? Because both of them have right angles. This is the right angle there. This is the right angle there. And if this is, say, y, this angle, this would be y. This one right here, by opposite angles. And therefore, this angle in here would be 90 minus y. And therefore, this angle in here, that little guy, and there would be 90 minus y. So by similar triangles, we can get the value of x. And when you do similar triangles, 4 minus x, the long side of the first one and the long side of the second one would be equivalent to the bases, which would be 3 over 2 over a half. And there we go. So 4 minus x over x will be equal to 3 over 1. Cross multiplying, get 4 minus x is equal to 3x. 4 is equal to 4x, and therefore x is equal to 1. So this becomes 2 plus 1, which is, of course, 3. So number 22, the answer is C. Two congruent circles centered at points A and B, each pass through the other center. The line containing both A and B is extended to intersect the circles at points C and D. The two circles intersect at 2 points, one of which is E. What is the degree measure of CED? All right, let's draw these circles as best as I can. They're congruent, so they're the same pretty much. And then let's draw on those centers. This is A approximately, and this center here is B. And then what they're saying is you're going to draw a line through AB, and it will extend like that, and it will make C and D as points on those circles. Okay, and then the circles intersect each other here, and one of those points is E, so this guy is E. And now they're asking, what is the degree measure of CED? So CED. All right. So that angle right there. Okay. Let's label just a couple other things. I'm going to draw just one line from A to E and one line from E to B. And I think that should be sufficient for this question. Now, they want this whole angle, CED. Well, I'm going to break it up. This I'm going to call X. This I'm going to call Y. And from here to here, I will call Z. So angle CED, which is what they want me to figure out, is basically X plus Y plus Z, according to my lettering. Now, a couple of cool things here. From here to here is the radius, right? And so is this guy, A to E. It's also the radius. And so is this, E to B. So that triangle is equilateral. And because it's equilateral, all the angles will be 60 degrees. So that means Y is 60 degrees. So that's really good. Now we got to figure out X and Z. Well, this angle in here is 90. Now you say, well, how do you know that? Well, anytime you have a angle that's completely inscribed inside a semicircle, which began at 2 points on the circle, which would basically be 2 points on the diameter, the rule is that that is 90 degrees. Some of you know that, some of you may not, but that's okay. Now you know. So that means that X plus Y is 90, and therefore X would be 30 since Y is 60. In a very similar way, this is also 90 for the exact same reason that this angle is completely inside a semicircle and it touches the points on the circle. So that means Y plus Z is 90, and since Y is 60, Z is 30. So going back, I put 30 for X, 30 for Z, and then finally adding them all together, I get 120. For CED, therefore number 23, the answer is C. The digits 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are each used once to write a 5-digit number PQRST. The 3-digit number PQR is divisible by 4. The 3-digit number QRS is divisible by 5. And the 3-digit number RST is divisible by 3. What is P? We have to fiddle around with this and see what we can get. So PQRST. All right. So they're saying that whatever this number is, it's divisible by 4. And whatever this number is, it's divisible by 5. And whatever this number is, it's divisible by 3. Okay. Well, the easiest one is the one divisible by 5. If something is 3 digits and is divisible by 5, the final digit has got to be either 0 or 5. But we're only dealing with those digits, so there is no 0. So that means S must be 5. So that's the easiest one, I think. So what I'm going to do is write out those numbers out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've already selected the 5. I've assigned 5 already, so that one's gone. I'll circle it. Now I've got to assign the other 4. Okay, well, which direction do you want to go here? I'm going to look at PQR. PQR is divisible by 4. Okay, if a number is divisible by 4, it could end in a, so I have a few choices. It can end obviously in 4, 8, 12, 16, right? Quite a few choices, 24, 28. But 4 we have, 8 we don't have, 12 we have a 2, we don't have a 6, we don't have a 0. So that means this number R is either a 4 or a 2. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now we have to fiddle around with it. Let's see here. Let's say I chose a 4, and this is assigned as 5. If I made this number T a 3, I think it would be divisible by 3. Well, let's see. 453, is it divisible by 3? And the answer is yes, because that's 151. Okay, so I think that's going to be pretty good. Let's just hope it works out. So now I've got to assign the 2 and the 1. And I'll assign it as follows. I'll put a 1 here and a 2 here. Let's just see what happens. So QRS, therefore, is 245. 245 divided by 5, indeed, is 49. So that works. And then finally, we have to see PQR. PQR is 124, because I'm using the 4 there. Is that divisible by 4? If it is, we're done. And the good news is, it is. It's 31 exactly. So what is P? Well, according to my calculations, P is 1. So therefore, number 24, the answer is A. A semicircle is inscribed in an isosceles triangle with the base 16 and the height 15, so that the diameter of the semicircle is contained in the base of the triangle as shown. What is the radius of the semicircle? Well, we will draw what we can from the top, say, to the center, and then one line from the center to that tangent point. So that will be 90 degrees. And this is also 90 degrees since I've drawn a perpendicular. Okay, so let's label this now. The base is 16, so that means when I drew that perpendicular, it chopped it in half, 8 and 8. The height is 15. This top to bottom height is 15. And therefore, the side there can easily be figured out using Pythagoras. 15 squared plus 8 squared is 8 squared. And when you solve for this, you get h is equal to 17. All right, so now where do we go from here? Well, this is the radius right here, r, from here to here. That represents the radius. And I'm going to use this side, but I'm going to break it up. I'm going to call this x. And then from here to here will be 17 minus x, since that whole side is 17, right? It's isosceles. So this side is equal to that side, and both sides are equal to 17. Okay, so now we've got two Pythagorean relationships. From the small triangle right here, we've got x squared plus r squared is equal to 8 squared. And therefore r squared would be 64 minus x squared. from this triangle, we've got 17 minus x squared plus r squared is equal to 15 squared. So that means 17 squared minus 34x plus x squared. R squared is this guy. So plus 64 minus x squared, and then 15 squared is 225. So let's see here. This cancels with that. If I bring all the numbers and put them together, I'm going to get, I think, 128, and then put the 34 on the other side. And then divide through, and x is equal to 128 over 34. In lowest terms, it would be 64 over 17. Okay, well, they don't want x, they want r, right? They want the radius. All right, no problem. Just substitute the value of x back into here. So r squared would be 64 minus x squared, which is 64 over 17 squared. So now that means r squared would be, get a common denominator and multiply through. So the common denominator would be 17 squared. So that's going to be 18496, and then 64 squared is 4096. So r squared looks like 14400 over 17 squared, and that means r would be the square root of that, which is 120 over 17. And therefore, number 25, the answer is B.